Hi everybody, this is Sarah. I am creating some Christmas postcards today, and I'm going to do an easier one, a kind of middle length one, and a one that takes a little bit more time, the stack tree. They're easier to do than a typical card, just because you're just basically doing the card front, and in the US at least, they're a little bit less expensive to mail, but nevertheless, I think they are really cute and are a lot of fun to make. Just use scraps through the whole process, so I recommend doing that. You can see here I cut them out on my Cricut, to get that nice rounded shape consistent. But you can do this, just by cutting a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper in quarters as well. So really, there's several ways to do this. In fact, you could even use another postcard you have and use that as a template and trace around that. These little shapes I have, these ornament shapes I got from the Cricut Access that I subscribe to, and I'm using old stamp sets and just scrap paper that I have lying around. And I encourage you to do this. This is a great, to me, stash buster, and we'll get into this right now. Okay, so we're going to start by making the very simple card here with the stamped middle and the stamped background. It's one layer. This middle stamp I embossed to give it a little bit of shine. And the name of the stamp set I don't have anymore. It's an old stamp set I have from Inkadinkado, and it just has some really nice holiday sentiments, joy and peace and Merry Christmas, which is always nice in that nice scripty font, and some snowflakes and some swirls, and I've been using it for years. Anyway, I'm using the Ranger Archival ink for the background, and then for this stamp this sentiment. Initially, I'm going to use the VersaFine ink. I'm just making the paper not staticky and covering up any maybe fingerprint oils on it right now, and this little embossing bag that I made, just cornstarch and a nylon, so you can make one yourself or buy one even at the store. And the next thing I'm going to do here is stamp my sentiment, and I'm using instead of using the one that I had before, which was peace, I'm using one that says joy. I'm just making sure that I align one of the joys at the top of this wreath of words, and you can do this easily if you have one of those MISTI tools. It's really not that hard with the stamp block, and if you're doing it one at a time. I'm not too worried about it being exactly in the center of the piece of paper. I want it pretty close, but I don't think anybody's going to be measuring it when they get it. So anyway, that's that. I'm going to go ahead and finish this embossing, and we'll come back. Okay, this is embossed now, and I've put my embossing powder away. I'm just going to get a mask out and tape it down with just a circle of painter's tape to the card so that I can stamp around the outside edges with a snowflake pattern. And I'm using the Distress Oxide ink, the Faded Jeans color, for the snowflakes. I really like how it oxidizes a little bit on the card and gives it a frosty look. I think it looks really nice. Putting this mask down means that I won't get any of the snowflakes into the words. It'll kind of leave a little bit of a halo around this. And the little piece of tape means that I don't have to hold the mask down. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. You'll see that I'm just rotating the stamp around the edges because I don't want any of the snowflake pattern to look exact throughout. It's actually a tip I picked up from the Frugal Crafter, and it makes it look more random, even when you have the stamps in one set location on your stamp block. I like the look. Of course, if you like a look of a very patterned, specific, non-random look, then don't rotate your stamp block. But you do you, and it's your art, so do it how you like it. Anyway, I'm going to finish this up, and I'll be back when it's time to take the mask off. Okay, I've finished stamping this, and I'm ready to take off the mask. When I take it off, you'll see that those snowflakes that were stamped on top of the mask, of course, aren't on the paper over the words, and so the words are a little bit more clear. I'm really happy with this. I think it's really pretty. I'm really excited to send this to one of my friends or family, and I hope they like it as well. Okay, so next we're going to make this ornament card. I got these ornament shapes from Cricut Access program I subscribe to, but You could just cut these out or use a punch or a die or something too, right? Or, you could use presents or any sort of shape. It was just, add some nice color and get those holiday colors on the card. I have this um, background that I stamped, just using some stamps from a variety of stamps. That's little hollies and birds and such with the Distress Oxide ink again and that Faded Jeans color. I embossed this Best Wishes onto the front of the middle ornament. It just happened to fit perfectly and was somewhat unplanned. And again, I'm just using scraps here, so I'm trying to use up, I use a paper pack. Oh, here's the stamps that I used. And it's close to my heart, Make It Merry. So I think it's just a really nice stamp set. It has this cute scooter and some other nice sentiments with it. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into making the card now. Okay, I'm going to pick a background. I stamped a lot of these backgrounds ahead of time, and I'm going to use this green background. I like this, these green snowflakes with, I like how the oxide ink has frosted a little bit. I think it looks nice and wintry. And basically we're just going to put the ornaments on now. I used this Distress Oxide peeled paint color for the background. Anyway, we're going to put the ornaments on. I'm going to put the middle round ornament first, the one with a sentiment. I'm using wet glue just because it will keep, in my opinion, the item here, this little embellishment, adhered better than tape or like a glue stick or something. But if you're hand delivering it, you can do whatever you want. Honestly, it's yours, so you can do whatever you want. You could even do Mod Podge over the top of it if you don't want water to affect it as much and things. So anyway, that's my opinion. I'm just waiting a couple seconds for the glue to get a little bit tacky before I put it down. And then once I put it down, you'll see that I use a paper towel here and there to blot the excess glue that comes up. And that just keeps the, you'll see me doing it here, but it keeps the glue from getting a sheen from being smeared. It also keeps the glue off my fingers. So it's double wonderful. And a trick I use when I'm using wet glue all the time. So I go a little heavy with the glue, but then I can blot it. And you don't need a lot of glue really on these because the paper is pretty absorbent. Anyway, here I am, I'm putting this in. I really like this ornament. It has the stripes on it. I thought it was really pretty, and it is really sturdy because it has the double layer of paper, but I thought it came out really pretty. So I'm sorry, I got a little out of focus here, but we'll zoom forward until this card's done. Okay, I got us through the blurry section. Here's the final card, and you can see that I've glued everything down and drawn on some bows and with an acrylic paint pen. And the next card we're going to do is a really fun card. It's this stacked paper tree card, and you just cut strips from scraps, or of course if you want to use fresh paper you can, of course. And then I just put a simple sentiment next to it and emboss it for some more just some more, I guess, poshness. Anyway, and just like the way it's raised a little bit without adding bulk to the postcard. And at the top I just cut a square of this gold glitter washi tape. I had some left over from my wedding, and put it in a diamond, on its side so it looks like a diamond. Okay, so I found a scrap from my little bag of scraps, which has wood grain on it. So I'm going to use that as my tree trunk. I lucked out. And then you can see I have a pile of scraps next to me, which I'll use for the rest of the stacked tree. I think this is really cute. Really cute. I really like putting this together. It's the one that takes the longest, but I think it's really fun to put together, and neat to be able to play with the different colors of the paper and patterns on the paper. So anyway, I'm just going to glue this trunk down, and then I'm going to show you the template card. I say the template, but the card that's kind of my example card. And I want to show you how the paper strips are put together, because they're not all straight, right? You can see here that some of them are going up and to the right, a couple, right? And then there's a couple that are going from the top left and down, and they stack up. So you put them in these different orders, there's a method to the madness, and it gives it this whimsical look. But really, you can put these all perpendicular to the tree trunk, or you could put them horizontal even probably. Um, I really think there's a lot you can do here. You could probably make presents if you glue these to a piece of paper. You could make your own paper and maybe make stars or snowflakes. I think there's some fun things that you can do here. The key here, as I'm showing you, is to make a triangle for a tree. So it's kind of a cartoony way to think about it, but make the triangle. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I do this. So I'm going to just lay out a piece of paper, a strip of paper, and I'm going to cut it where I think I want the bottom of the tree to go. This is not exact for me, but if you're making a lot of these cards, you could certainly trim a lot of these strips all at the same length and really mass produce if you have a lot of this stuff going on. But anyway, I'm going to glue these strips down and I'll just show you. You can watch and see how the strips go down, so you can replicate this if you want to. One of the things I just really excited. I just got married, and so we just got back from our honeymoon in South Africa. I just had a wonderful time with my honey, and we just really really enjoyed ourselves. I was thinking about doing a painting from some of the pictures I took, and I was wondering if you all would be interested in that. If you are, comment down below. You can see some of the pictures I took and maybe some examples of what I would be painting if you go onto my Instagram. That's Sarah_C_Berry. And you can see some of the pictures I took and maybe some of the inspiration that would go into a painting like that. And some of my paintings, if you're be interested in seeing my technique and things. Anyway, here I am. I'm going to lay down this next sheet of strip of paper, and I'm just going to cut a little bit shorter than the other one. And I'm going to keep doing that. Again, that's to make that a triangle shape. So if you're going to do this as a card front, really, you could really go all out and even add like foam tape behind this, stack paper, give it a 3D effect, and really get these branches, really get some of these branches raised up and get some dimension on them. Since I'm sending this as postcards, of course, I want it as flat as possible. Because there's some rules in the US about how thick a postcard can be to be considered a postcard. So, and I don't want things getting caught up in the machinery and such. Anyway, so I'm going to do those two kind of going up and to the right, and this one I'm going to do going a little bit from the left and down. And that's just going to start that, that whimsical look. And also you can see I'm not laying these like right next to each other. I'm leaving some gapping between these strips to give some air to the piece so you can kind of see through to the background a little bit. If you ever look at a pine tree, you'll notice that you can see, well, in most places, you can see through the pine tree to the background. It might be another pine tree, but you can certainly see through it to other trees. So I want to replicate that, even though I'm, doing this in a very stylized fashion. So I'm going to put that one down and, from the left, top left to the bottom right. And I'm going to continue on, and I'm just here alternating colors. I'm using all paper from paper strips and paper scraps from the same paper pack. This came with this pretty music paper, and I think even that wood grain paper came from it, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It had checks, and it has holly leaves, and paper that says Merry Christmas and fa la la, and the snowflakes and things. So, but all of the colors go together. If you're using paper from a variety of paper packs, that would also be good, because it's consistently inconsistent. Or you could do something where you like tea dyed or coffee dyed the paper to make it all have a similar tone, and that would bring the paper together. You could also add, glitter paper or metallic or foiled paper into this. That would be pretty. You could put on ornaments, glue sequins on. I wouldn't recommend a sequins unless you're going to be putting this in an envelope, but there's a lot of stuff you can do with this, I think. Okay, so I'm going to continue stacking the tree here, and I'll come back once we're through the stacking a little bit more. I'm going to just go ahead and speed it up for the rest of the way. Okay, it's all embossed. You can see here the most wonderful time of the year. It's nice and shiny and white. I think it looks really nice, especially kind of reflects the gold shine as well. So I'm just gonna put my embossing powder to the side. You can save that if you didn't know. You can use it over and over again. You know, it gets dirty at some point. You have to kind of give up on it, but the little container will last for a while. So these are some of the ones we did. I've done, here's this piece version, and I'm going to zoom in, which is good, and get it in focus. Okay, so we have this piece version, and I really like the glitter on it, the most wonderful time of the year. And then those two, again, those take a little bit more time, as you saw, but I think it's a lot of fun to put these together, and you can see how the same paper pack made different kinds of trees. Here's these ornaments, and I did another one after this, which was 3 of the long ornaments together, which is really pretty and no sentiment. Then I did one with a really big round ornament and a bigger sentiment and a different, like a green paper. So, which I don't have here because I did them after I did the video, but it was a lot of fun. And here's this 1-layer card with joy on it. And the one I did before that says peace with the black embossing. And I like the shine of the embossing. I think that goes a long way for these 1-layers. This is one I did, like one of my test ones, and you can see I embossed with gold glitter, which I think is really pretty, but it didn't really show up on this craft cardstock. So I had to ink the background, and it shows up now in person, but it doesn't show up well, I don't think, with the camera. So I just used some brown and some green ink, but really it didn't, it's not my favorite, but it's cute, but it's not my favorite. That's why I switched to the black and the white. I think that looks better with the craft cardstock. I did another simple one here, the Make It Merry. And you can see these are just the 8.5 by 11 that I cut into quarters. And on the Cricut, you know, you can, again, on the Cricut, you can cut this out, but you can use a template or whatever. That's a bigger tree I did. And I've gone through and done, I had to do a lot of these postcards for our friends and family. Well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to do a lot of these to send to each of our friends and family. And I'll really do other special cards for really close family and friends that I send gifts to. But I just was really having a good time putting these together and going through the scraps that I had and creating something new out of those, you know, out of something that I hadn't used for a while. It was fun to reinvent these scraps. So anyway, I really enjoyed crafting with you all, and I hope you had a good time doing this, and I hope you do this project. If you do this project or something similar, it'd be great. I'd love to see them. You can tag me on Instagram, Sarah_C_Berry. And I'd love to see them. Again, you know, that 1-layer card, which is the round wreath words embossing, that was really fast. The one with the ornaments took a little more time because of the gluing. And then the layered tree does take more time, but again, I just thought it was a lot of fun to do, so it was worth it to me to do that. You can turn these again into card fronts or send them as postcards like I'm doing. Anyway, thank you again for everything. Please, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe. And if you have anything to add or want to see in the future, please go ahead and comment. And we'll talk to you later. Love what you do, and hope you guys had some fun doing this project. Thanks. Bye.